There is a place in the ocean so far from land that when you're at that point, the closest human beings to you are in space. And yet when you're at that point, there just may be something that is closer to you. It's called Point Nemo, the Oceanic Pole of Inaccessibility. It's the farthest point from land in every direction. There's no shipping lanes passing through here, and there's no flight paths over this point, and there are no accidental visitors. If you want to go there, you have to mean it. Roger had always been afraid of open spaces. He didn't like places that were too big or horizons that didn't end. He had a feeling that the world could swallow him without noticing. Most people step away from fear, but for some reason, Roger booked a passage toward it, toward Point Nemo. It took Roger 2 years to find a research crew willing to take him to Point Nemo. He found scientists studying currents in the South Pacific Gyre. They departed from Punta Arenas, Chile. Their trip to Point Nemo would take them over 15 days, crossing at least 1,450 nautical miles. A trip that would take them into open, vast, and desolate ocean waters. Here's what they don't tell you about traveling to Point Nemo. It isn't dramatic. It's worse. Because nothing happens. And your mind starts filling the silence for you. After several days, the ocean flattened and the birds vanished. Even the wind felt reduced. And at night, the sky became crowded with stars, but the water stayed empty. It felt as if something had cleared a giant room. Roger wasn't sure what day it was, but the captain came to him one morning and told him they'd be crossing the coordinates within an hour. They brought him coffee, and then someone joked because they knew there was nothing to see at Point Nemo. As they approached their long-awaited destination, the crew started counting down. 3, 2, 1, and then they all started clapping because they were there. They were at the center of the largest absence on Earth. Roger had awaited a feeling of accomplishment when arriving at Point Nemo. But in reality, now that he was there, what he felt was exposure. And despite this, he asked to be submerged in the water for 15 minutes, a safe 15 minutes, just tethered and supervised, something that would give him a sense of floating in the middle of nowhere. And then he could come back cured of his fears. As Roger entered the water, the cold instantly hit him. The Pacific lifted him as if he weighed nothing. And then the ship drifted away at the end of the line, already further than he liked. Roger noticed that the water changed, not the surface. It was underneath. Something enormous moved below him. It was big enough to bend the ocean around him. He said to himself, "It's probably nothing." Probably. Roger looked down. At first, he just saw depth, but then he saw a shape. A vast, pale shape, suggesting it was interrupting the dark. It was just too symmetrical. It was too deliberate. Then the shape below Roger began to open, slowly, like a land unfolding. It had separating lines and angles that revealed themselves. This was the kind of geometry that implies intention. Far below Roger, there were points of flickering light. One, then several, then dozens. The crew thought they were just reflections, or some type of bioluminescence, or maybe a glare. But reflections don't organize themselves. These were forming a pattern, and the pattern was very aware and focused on Roger. Roger felt the tether snap tight. He thought they were pulling him back in. He tried to help, kicking towards the ship. But the water had thickened. Each movement delayed and resisted. Below him, the structure widened. It unfolded itself even more, as if it had been waiting for someone to finally arrive. For one blazing moment, Roger rose out of the water. Hope is cruel like that. But then something brushed the line. It wasn't violent. The cable slipped free, and above Roger, the ship began to drift away. It became very small and very temporary. The last thing the crew heard through the radio was Roger's breathing. But even that belonged to the ocean. They say the nearest humans to Point Nemo are the astronauts. They're wrong. There's something else in the place that we always thought was empty. It's something that survives by being difficult to reach. So just remember, if you chase the edge of your fears long enough, eventually, they'll look back. If you've enjoyed this video, hit that like button and subscribe for more content related to fears and phobias. And check out these next videos.